My name is Edwin Bessant. I'm the Group CEO of the Ceuta Group of Companies. Well, it's 24 years ago we started with an idea in a small office, and since then we've moved we moved 2 years later into another office, 2 floors. Now we have a main building, five floors here. But the business has totally transformed from an idea. We identified a gap in the marketplace for helping healthcare businesses to have a reach at an affordable cost into the high street, managing, selling, education, their brand, supporting their brands into pharmacy. So that's where the idea started. Now we have 13 companies in our group. We're reached to 107 countries. We are seen as a sort of strong thought leadership company, again driving innovation, new ideas, and making sure we are fit for purpose for today's marketplace, but more importantly tomorrow's marketplace as well. So it's a massive change, and what makes the business, I think, incredibly inspirational now and totally unique is that we have what we created is integrated platform of services, and that integrated platform of services it's very unique, and you don't see this anywhere else in the world. There are very large outsourcing companies like DKSH in Asia, and you've got Advantage Acosta in the US, and they're highly professional businesses, but they have a whole bandwidth of services, but they really haven't got the services that we have here to actually help companies in brand fostering across the world. But we have services within the group from not just outsourcing for health and beauty brands and companies, but helping companies in food and drinks as well. And these companies, we either work with them, support them on strategy, specific trade channel awareness, or we manage a whole country for them as well. And that's driven by, they don't really want bricks and mortar, they don't want people, but they want to get into a marketplace. And that's where we have a very large part of our business, which is moving to, because these companies now see that Ceuta can be not just a local market solution, but they can see us as a global solution. So we're working for companies either from one market up to 43 markets across the world. And we deliver all kinds of services from the sales outsourcing side. But what's really important, if we go into a market, the first thing we want to do is actually identify, is that brand relevant for that marketplace? Does it have a position on shelf? What's the competitive activity element about? What's the potential size of the prize for our client? And making sure that we're fully equipped, our sales guys, national account guys are fully equipped so when they go and see the buyers in these massive retailers, that they have something, a product which is innovative and has a position on shelf. So we like to lead the negotiations, but that's really important. So we have a company in the group called Bridgethorn, which is a category management-led business, but also they understand consumer and shopper insight as well. And there's a big difference in consumer and shopper, because the shopper may not necessarily be buying the product for themselves, they could be buying it for somebody else, and that's the consumer. So it's really understand, as you go from market to market, that you really do understand who's actually buying your product. And also you need that information on shelf to actually identify that you do have the right placement, the right positioning. So we start there, and then of course we have creative design agencies. I never thought we would be acquiring a creative design agencies, but that's critical because that's in the sort of base platform of any company. When they launch a brand, they have to understand, what the brand creative is really important, influential to the consumer. It's got to communicate the right narrative or pack descriptions on the pack. It's got to look exciting, and it has to stand out on the shelf, of course. But that's really important for brand positioning, and then the brand communication, and eventually the brand activation as well. So we have taken our creative design agency, One HQ, but we've taken them actually into New York, taken them to Rotterdam. We're going to take them into Shanghai, Singapore, and probably later on into Dubai, then down to South Africa. So we have a route through, but we're being led by key clients who are actually saying, can you manage our brands? You're doing a great job in this country, but let's take you into other markets. So that's a great endorsement of actually our positioning. And then, of course, we have field and marketing companies, experiential marketing, data analytics, and we have data analytics through a company called Kaleidoscope. But we focus on, is the media that's being used, is it still relevant, and are you getting the best bang for your buck in whatever media channel you're taking? So we really have got a sort of strong bandwidth of companies. But in this integration platform, it's a bit like a bubble, but you have a collective of services across the group. But what it delivers is a collective of services delivering an expedient single solution. And when you bring these people into a room, you don't necessarily need 13 companies in a room, but when you identify which parts of the service you want, particularly for an overseas company, you can bring in the data analytics, the shopper insight, category insights, the brand communication piece, and the sales activation piece. And you bring them in, you just highlight exactly what the challenge is or what the opportunity is, bring these guys together, and it's a very powerful medium of identifying a very expedient single solution. And this helps companies, instead of going around and talking to different agencies in different parts of the UK or the world, and then going back to their offices and say, well, this company said this and this company said that. Well, we can do it in one room, and it's a very powerful medium. And we have a number of evidence-based examples and case studies where this has really worked. And the only final point I'll make on the sort of the innovation part of the business is, we've created this integrated platform across the UK. And if you looked at a Harvard business case model, they would say, if you're going to initiate a new idea, trial it on a local market basis, and if it works, then you can migrate it into other markets. And that's exactly what we've done now. We have a high number of evidence-based case studies, working and developing brands, not just in the UK and Europe, but across the world.